Welcome to the P Coffee Brown Show, where we stir up conversations as rich as your morning coffee.
What's going on, family? Welcome to this week's edition of the P Coffee Brown Show. We are back and live. It is 2026. What's going on, family?
Can't hear you again.
Can you guys hear me?
I can.
Jason, can you hear me? Okay, I don't know what's going on with this technology tonight. So we're going to have to probably go individually on our microphones because it seems like it's something going on with the technology tonight. Can you guys hear me in the studio? Thumbs up. Can you guys hear me in the studio? Shamika, can you hear me? Okay. So it's something going on with Jason's side of the coin. Apparently, his technology is not being respectful to us tonight. But we're going to get right into the show on tonight. Super, super, super exciting. Super exciting. We're in a whole brand new year. And it's going to be so many things going on in the year 2026. But I want us to, first of all, be reminded that the most important thing that we need to do as we journey into this year of 2026 is to be cognizant of how we're treating ourselves from a mental perspective. You know, we focus on so many things, other things. We got business, we got family, we got friends, we got all these other things that we have going on. We got work, we got all these other different responsibilities. But this year, we need to start really taking serious how we deal with our mental state of existence, because listen, if our mind is not where it needs to be, the rest of our life is going to reflect that. So it's going to be imperative that we guard our hearts and our minds, protect our energy, protect our environment from a mental capacity, be clear on what we're consuming as far as food wise, because there's brain food, things that help condition your mind, even from a perspective of what you're putting into your mouth. It can definitely have a major impact on what's going on with you. So we want to be cognizant and aware of that. So tonight we're going to start off the year with a mental clarity reset. We want to talk about mastering focus in a distracted world. Things are crazy right now. We all know it. We've all seen it. We've all seen everything going on with the government and the issues with Venezuela, about the oil. It's a whole lot that's going to be going on. And there's a lot of things that will be impacted. We just learned a couple of days ago, we started talking about it as the year closed, about the school closures here in Texas, major school closures. I'm not talking about little itty bitty schools. I'm talking about major campuses that have been open for many years are in a threat of closure right now. In the month of March, when the vote happens, they're talking about closing major schools where there is no other alternative for the students in their immediate communities. That is going to have a major impact on parents and families. They're also talking about there's a probability, a strong probability, that we may see another government shutdown. At some point during this year, we may see another government shutdown. So there's a lot of things to contend with this year. So this is the reason why we really, really got to focus on how we're treating our minds. So let's get to it. Let's get to it. So one of the things that we want to do, one of the most important things we want to do is we want to make sure we're going to acknowledge when there's things going on. We're going to talk about the cost of mental noise, and we're going to have this amazing panel hop in. Jason Thibodeau is in the building. Vincent D. Melvin is in the building. Shamika Harris, a.k.a. Dr. S.H. is in the building. And she said, don't call me the doctor, baby. Call me S.H., baby. Don't call me the doctor tonight, baby. So they are in the building. We're going to talk this thing out, all right? So let's talk about this, the cost of mental noise, all right? Acknowledging mental fatigue, burnout, and overwhelm. What does that even look like? Acknowledging mental fatigue, burnout, and overwhelm. Anybody can hop in. Let's chop it up and talk about this tonight.
I mean, when it comes to mental fatigue, I mean, anytime that you have anything that causes a consistent stressor, whether it's financial or family or anything else, I mean, at some point you're going to run, you're going to wear down, man. And when you do, that's one of the things that we need to talk about this evening is just how do you reset? How do you notice that it's happening? How do you, you know what I'm saying? You got to identify it. You got to make sure that you end up figuring out a way to reset and to address it, man. And everybody goes through a mental fatigue. I don't care how strong you think that you are. Everybody at some point is going to go through some type of fatigue. And
Exactly.
the best thing to do is just be able to recognize it, take a step back, and you know, not just myself, but I'm hoping as we go through this evening, we talk about different ways to deal with it. I mean, for me, a lot of times I have growing up as an only child, I have a tendency to kind of step back, look at what it is that I'm going through. I try to judge my part in that, if you know, whether I'm the one that's causing it or not. And then
Mhm.
from there, a lot of times I'll start looking at different ways to address what it is that's actually happening, me
So,
personally.
one of the things, okay, when you talked about that, who is it that you actually share that with? Who do you tell? I'm experiencing mental
It,
burnout. I'm experiencing, I need to really just kind of, step away for a
right.
minute. I'm experiencing all these things. Who do you really talk to? Who do you really share that with? Who do you say it to?
It depends on what it is. I mean, and what I mean by that, if it's something job related, you know, a lot of times I'll talk to someone that I trust, you know, to be able to vent, because sometimes you just need to vent. You're not always
Right,
looking for a solution, right?
right, right.
Sometimes, let's just be honest. Anytime you get upset at points, you just need to get it off your chest. You're not necessarily looking for a solution at first.
Hmm.
You just need to get it out and
Yeah,
not have someone come back at you. It's like, oh, well, you're just complaining. No, 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 no. I just needed to get it out. You know what I
right,
mean?
right,
That way I don't go to work or go home and cuss somebody out
right.
or talk bad to somebody. You know, sometimes you just need to get it out of your system. And it's good to have someone that you can trust to do that. You know, I have a couple of people that I do trust.
Hmm.
And depending on if it's whether it's relationship, you know, like personal relationship, or if it's business relationship wise, will determine what parts of that conversation they get, right?
Gotcha.
And whether I need to talk to a man or a woman. I mean, sometimes I need a man's point of view, sometimes I need a lady's point of view. You know what I mean?
Facts,
So it's good
facts.
to have, you know, we talked about it before, having a community, trying to at least have a couple of people that you can talk to that you trust. That's not going to turn around and just throw that right back in your face.
Right. That's why I asked, who do you talk to? Who do you share that with when you go through that? Because
Hmm.
sometimes, and Shamika definitely hop in on this one because I know this is an area of your expertise. Because sometimes people will get to the point of judging you when they find
Correct.
out that you're experiencing something. When you say anything quote unquote mental, it turns into a whole
Hmm.
judgment zone. Like, what's the judgment for? Everybody has to deal with something when it comes to that. It's the same thing as a common cold or, a flu symptom or you being fatigued from just having a long day at work. I'm
Right.
fatigued because I had a long day at work. So mental fatigue doesn't have to be that it's something wrong with my mind. It's a part of what the body does. All of it
Yeah.
coincides. And if I say, I just feel, like I'm just overwhelmed right now, or I got too many things going on, or I got too much noise in the background of my life where I can't focus or I cannot think
Hmm.
straight, you got to be able to find somebody that without a doubt that they're not going to take that information and turn it around to make it seem like there's something wrong with you or you have some kind of defect going on when in fact you're just proving to be human. Go ahead, Shamika. I saw you open your mic.
Yeah, that was going to be my point that no matter, even though, I have, this degree and this is what I do on a, daily basis, I experience life just like everyone else. So they always say, hey, therapists, counselors, life coaches, they need the same therapists, counselor, life coaches because they're experiencing life just like you and everybody else. Mental fatigue usually is just you piling on too much. You're thinking too much. You cannot think clearly, and you just need to take a step back. A lot of times, it's just us putting too much pressure on ourselves. I was talking to my uncle the other day, and he made a statement to me, and it just been resonating. We cause our own anxiety sometimes
Oh
because
yeah.
we're putting too much pressure on ourselves. And that's usually where the mental fatigue comes in at is when we're trying to do so much in such a little time. How about you just take a step back, recalibrate, think about what you're trying to accomplish, and then work from there. And don't, always expect that things are going to happen as swiftly as you would like them to. We all want to get things done, but sometimes we're just not clear in the way that we're making our decisions and moving forward. And that mental fatigue will keep you from even moving forward. So why not just call it what it is, say, hey, I need to just not touch this right now. Take a break. I'm good to go. Like when I get to that point, I'm going to go sit by some water. I'm going to go to the beach. I'm going to read a book. I'm going to do something that does not require me to think so much, just to breathe and take that time for myself. So we just got to learn how to step back and recalibrate our thoughts and our actions moving forward.
Exactly. And then learning how to be fair to ourselves. A lot of times we don't treat ourselves fairly, especially if we have these different things that we want to get accomplished and we want to get done, and they haven't played out how we want them. So we start being very unfair to ourselves and just judging or taking or looking at what somebody else has accomplished or how they've done it, and then finding ourselves as inadequate, defining ourselves as inadequate. Next thing you know, you talk about being mentally jacked up from that point. That is a major way to self-sabotage. Just be like, oh man, I had an intention to do this and I was working on that and I had all this set up to accomplish yada, 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 and it's not done. Next thing you know, you're not treating yourself with the love and the adoration that you deserve just because you haven't gotten this certain thing done, or oh, you know what, I really, really wanted to get this. And and man, I saw such and such, they got it done. And it seemed like every time I try to do something, I can't get it done and all the while, you're just really draining your own self and just taking away from you. So that's an important thing that we make sure that we don't do that. Let's talk more about this. So when it comes to being clear, how does that impact our financial decisions? Vincent, talk to us about that. How does it impact our financial decisions when we're under this cloud inside of our mind? How does that impact us fiscally?
Okay. First off, good afternoon, everyone. I was listening to something you just said earlier, Coffee, and this is normally 9 times out of 10, Dr. Shamika, Doctor, chime in if I'm wrong. Half of the anxiety that we experience is because we're basing ourselves on a certain standard of others. That's what causes anxiety. Very little of it is on you. Some of it is you, but the majority of it is you trying to compete with your peers and how they perceive you. You trying to keep up a so-called quote with the Joneses instead of keeping up with yourself. With that being said, that will make us or make anybody make financial decisions that are not good at all. Because you will sacrifice time, effort, and resources just to create this perceived persona. And we see a lot of it with some of our fame people in the entertainment world. They would go broke just to create a persona. So with that being said, and now now that I'm thinking about some things, how as a person who may go through these anxiety things, sometimes you don't even know that you are under that pressure. You don't know what the triggers, what the identifiers are, until a lot of times it's too late. All it takes is that one particular time to go a little bit overboard, cardiac arrest. And it don't take a lot. I was just looking at a lot of our famous people are dying off before they even hit 60 now. And a lot of that is stress. I never would have thought the famous actor Robin Williams, the comedian. As funny as he was and all the things that he was doing, no one knew he had anxiety that was on such a high rate it made him take his life. And a lot of us didn't find out about it till after he had passed. He was under a lot of mental things, stress. So it affects. It doesn't matter how much money you got, how rich or how average you are. Anxiety is an anxiety.
Yeah.
You know, a
Yeah.
lot of times we're just not clear. You know,
Yeah.
we're
Yeah.
not clear of who we are and where we're going. And that too will make you make poor decisions in your financial reasoning and your financial planning, because you're not clear where you're going, you're not clear who you are, so you're trying to keep up with the Joneses. I just told somebody today, they asked me, "Are you going to go and participate at this certain thing?" I'm like, "No, I have something, planned out. I have goals that I'm trying to reach." So
Mm-hmm.
those things, extracurricular activities, are just not what I'm going to be participating in this year, because I have a goal and I have plans that I'm making. So you have to be sure of where you're going and be certain and clear about who you are as a person. You don't have to keep up with anybody. Your
Mm-hmm.
journey is yours. Their journey is theirs. You don't need to be trying to follow around and see, hey, they have this car, they have X, Y, Z, and I want to keep up with that. No, make your journey your own. Be clear on who you are and move
Hmm.
forward in that direction. Nothing is wrong with you, desiring certain things, but make sure it's going to be what you can afford, what are moving towards. And that doesn't make you, if you don't have a certain brand or if you don't have a certain car, that does not make you. What makes you is who you are on the inside. And that's the point that people need to get really clear about. We're not the material things that we have. We are who we are on the inside. And
Exactly. And you can always change external experiences. That's something that we have the power to change. Just simply by shifting the way that we think, it will change the external manifestations that you experience. I mean, like Jason and I, when we first got into the industry of direct sales and would have to do, really, really hone in on personal development and all of the literature. We used to have conversations about that all the time. Be like, man, what the word says that too. We are what we think. We are what we constantly thinking about. That's who we really are. That's really what the backbone of who are, of our existence is. How we are thinking, what's going on in our head, and that's another reason why it's super imperative that we're clear, that we're crystal clear, about who we are and whose we are, and taking that time to understand and develop that individual. It's the same thing as, like I was in the gym this morning, and one of the guys that's in there with us, we go like super early in the morning. And he was talking about how the best time, talking about maximizing the time of day when you go exercise. And we were just talking about how when you first get up, just getting those neurons fired off from exercise can literally just like change everything up for the whole day. And you're being able to combat whatever forces are coming against you, or not even necessarily coming against you, but coming at you, because there's things that come at us all day, every day. Jason was talking earlier about the career and just things like that, things that come at us all day, every day. And a lot of times, if you already got those neurons fired off, and you're just clearer to be able to address and deal with those things. And even like staying away from sugars in the morning. Sugars are a downer. They're not an upper. They're real bad to be consuming first thing in the morning. Going to have donuts or whatever kind of sweet things. Or I'm just going to get a banana bread or even just a bagel or something like that. All that starchy stuff, it slows your brain down instead of speeding it up. And then at the cusp of the day, the height of the day, you need all of your bearings, all your cylinders to be firing off, like everything you needed to be firing off so you can do what you got to do. And then as the day goes on, as you start, losing the energy from that day, you only get a certain measure of energy per day anyway. It'll be normal that you start to see the decline. Okay, well, it's time for me to kind of slow down a little bit. I've given the day a strong capacity. Now I got to just kind of take a chill pill and slow down a little bit. But we got to be able to gauge things, and we got to be able to understand ourselves, and we got to be able to respect what's going on internally. Some of the big things that I want to talk about is what steals our focus. What really steals our focus? Vincent was talking about it kind of briefly about competition. Competition definitely will steal your focus when we're trying to compete with someone or something. Even Shamika was talking about how when people come and they have all this other stuff that they want you to participate or be a part of, and in your mind's eye, you're like, not in this season. This is something that I gotta, I'm focused on this. I'm not focused on that. Even I always watch Wall Street Trapper probably pretty much every day. I pull up on a segment so I can and my brother is also heavy into stocks, so kind of like seeing what's going on with the stocks. But he was making a comment and he was talking about how instead of them going overseas for this trip, he was saying, no, let's squash all that. Let's squash everything and just kind of take a whole year to just stay focused, to just like hone in and focus on what we really want the next 10, 15, 20 years to look like. And I think a lot of times that's one thing that causes us not to have the future and the hope that we really want, is that we take too much in from what somebody else has said or what somebody else has projected or what somebody else has thought about, what somebody else, is considering or what somebody else has said. And we don't take the time to just listen to what we are saying to ourselves, having that opportunity to just listen to you. What is your voice telling you? What is your voice saying to you? Not everybody else's voice. What are you feeling? What are your thoughts about it? And how do you think that this is going to play out? What else can y'all think about that really, really steals your focus?
These days, a little bit of everything. I mean, let's just be honest with each other. How often do we look at our phones? I've picked, and the reason I brought
And
that up is because I
oh
find
my God,
myself looking at it quite a bit
ridiculous.
during the day.
It's ridiculous.
And well, I shouldn't even say I'm looking at it. No, I'm not necessarily looking at it. I'm actually working, but I'm listening to it a lot. And depending on, I got to be very careful in what it is that I'm listening to, because if it's something that is interesting to me, at some point my focus starts to shift towards the phone, and then I'm watching these TikTok videos and everything else
Mhm.
as opposed to focusing on what I need to. So be very careful about what it is. You got to know what your triggers are. Does that make sense?
Yes.
And for me, I noticed that if it's something like, I can have the TV on while I work, and a lot of people cannot, but I'll always make sure I put it on something that I've seen before. That way I'm not totally vested in trying to make sure that I don't miss anything. Make sense?
Yeah.
It's a movie that's been on and it's just playing in the background. I might glance at it every now and again, but for the most part, I'm not paying that close attention to it. It's just background noise. But if you're listening to a new song or a new album, or there's a new movie that you haven't seen and you put that movie on, you're not going to get whatever it is you're trying to get done. You're going to start watching that show.
Right. And you're gonna be distracted by it. That's for
Big
sure.
time. Big time.
You mentioned the phones. It's funny that you mentioned that. I was at an appointment yesterday. I had to take somebody for an emergency medical appointment yesterday. And and as we were sitting in the waiting room, I was just kind of looking around, kind of people watching and paying attention. And every person in that lobby was on their phone. Every person. I
Yep.
mean, eyes glued to the phone, scrolling,
Yep.
scrolling. And all you saw them doing, and you could tell that it was no focus. It was just scroll, 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 scroll. And I was thinking that, like, what are you looking at right now? What has your attention, or really doesn't have your attention? Because if you're scrolling, you're really not focused on anything. You're just
Correct.
going through emotion. Why is it that we're so obsessed with going through emotion? Not
I
just
think a lot of it is training. A lot of it is training. I mean, our cell phones and social media over time has trained us. Everything from we have TikTok now, Facebook, Instagram. What was the other little reel things that we used to have before reels? I can't remember what they were called. They would make what did they used to call it thing? Was it not I don't know. It started with a B, I think. I don't know. But it'd be like a little 5-second video that they would make, and then they'd put it out there, and then everybody's trying to make it and see who can be the most popular.
yeah.
Talking
And then
about
you're sitting
they were
here,
called vines.
say that again.
They were called vines.
Yeah, there you go. That's what I thought. And then you sit there and make one of those, and then you watch this little video for seconds, and it's just second, 5 second, 10 second little videos. And before long, your mind is getting conditioned to where every 5, 10 seconds is something new, something else, something else. It's a stimulus.
Yeah.
It's a form of dopamine, and that's what the people are getting when they're looking at those phones all day.
Yeah, and it's crazy because it's like you're getting this dose of dopamine, but all the time, all the while, this is another reason why the mental clarity is not there, because the
Correct.
dopamine that you're getting is not geared towards anything specific. It's just stuff and
Hmm.
things, stuff and things, stuff
Yeah.
and things, but there's no direction of the stuff
Correct.
and things. It's just all kinds of stuff going into the mind, and there's no direct focus as to why you're looking at this, how long you're going to be looking at it, what the intent of it is, how is it going to impact your life? Is it anything that's going to help you grow, evolve, become? What is it that you're after with absorbing all this information? Go ahead, Shamika. I see you, Michael.
I have made a conscious decision this year myself to check my phone and see how much time I'm spending
Hmm.
scrolling on stuff, because you can't get time back. So
No.
when you're aimlessly scrolling, you're watching these videos and TikToks and all this other stuff, you're wasting so much time that you could be utilizing to progress and move forward in the things that you're supposed to be doing and moving
Hmm.
forward in your purpose. You're wasting so much time. We can get, money, cars, all those things, materialistic things back. But what we cannot get back is time. And how much time are we wasting by doing that? So I was like, you know what? Instead of doing any work on my phone, emails, or anything like that, I'm going to get on my laptop, because my laptop, I don't usually use my Facebook and TikTok and all that on there. It's
Exactly.
seriously to work. So I'm going to be on my computer to do my work instead of using my phone to respond to emails and all those things. Just making those conscious decisions to get away from that phone, because look how much time we're wasting by scrolling.
And that's funny you say that, because if you do it on your phone, it's so many options on there. It's different from a computer. You gotta intentionally go type in a URL and wait for it to open all that stuff. Whereas on your phone, you just click, click, boop, boop, and you go on 20 different things, and it's funny that you say that, because like during the day, I'm, in the background, I'll have charts up, looking at what's going on in the markets, instead of having the phone sitting there and constantly going through it. And I also have been making it like my business to kind of jot down specific things that I need to be focused on that specific day, to make sure that I'm focused on those specific things. I was listening to a podcast that Bob Proctor did before he passed away, and he was talking about, somebody was asking him, how did he get to where he was before he passed away, and how did he get to be the person that he is? He said, I study the same content all the time. He was talking about Think and Grow Rich. He was talking about the fact that he had been studying Think and Grow Rich for the past 50 years. He said, like, he'll do pages per day. Like, he'll just go in and he'll have specific pages that he studies every single day. And they would say, but you do that every day? He was like, yeah, exactly. He was talking about the habits of the wealthy versus the habits of the wanting. And he was just talking about the difference between what the wanting are doing and what the wealthy are doing. And he was saying, listen, when you're constantly feeding your mind information that is going to sustain you, for literally sustain your name long after you're gone. I'm talking about Bob Proctor. He's not even here anymore, right? So he was just talking about the sustainability of what kind of information we're obtaining. Like, what is the sustainability of what it is that you're taking in and absorbing? How is it going to be? How are you going to be able to regurgitate that tomorrow to have an impact that's going to be long standing? If you really sit down and we ask people, we took a poll or a survey and we asked people, they've been scrolling on their phone all day. Ask them, what is it that you actually saw? What is it that you actually learned? What is it that you're actually going to be applying to your life? And probably maybe 1%, if that high, will be able to tell us, oh, I intentionally did this because this is the result that I was after. And this is the thing that I want to do in my tomorrow. That's the reason why I did this specific thing. But it's going to be 1% or less that can actually, well, let me stretch it. Let's say 2%, that will be able to tell us from an intellectual perspective what it was that they were doing, why they were doing it, and how it's going to impact their tomorrow. For most people, just doing that ongoing scrolling and just looking, there is no real intentionality to it, and there's no purpose for tomorrow present with their decisions today. Go ahead, Vincent.
Okay, well, I'm glad you brought about the 1 or 2%. I happen to be one of those 1 or 2%ers. I'll tell you how. My mindset of how I look at things, how can I make my day something where I learn new things? I'm gonna use TikTok. In my TikTok, you have to have an account to get certain aspects of it. The TikTok account and everything about it, it's an algorithm. It watches, it learns from you, just like your phone does. In my TikTok account, I have folders of certain things that I have interest in. I'm a big DIY person. I got DIY things that I have in there. I have things that like for recipes. I'm a big cook.
For people that don't know what DIY is, can you please tell them what that acronym means?
That is do it yourself.
Thank you, sir.
Weekend warrior type things. Okay. I also have a file in there like for survival things. Like if certain things were to happen, if we power outages, certain things that I could use during that particular time. So my folders are what guides what I look at. It allows me to train the algorithm for my TikTok. So a lot of stuff that other people may have on their TikTok, I don't have it. And if it's something in that TikTok that I like, I save it and put it in that folder so I can go back to it later. So I treat TikTok as if it is a resource for information. I'm not just sitting on there scrolling, just to be doing it. It's with a purpose, and the purpose is guided behind the folders that I have. So there are some people who actually use those things for, entertainment purposes, and then there are those who use it for learning purposes. I happen to use it for learning purposes. And once I get tired of it, I'll get off. I don't have a problem picking up a book. You see what's behind me, and it's large. It's a kind of extensive library. So, to make a long story short, it's what you make out of it. Just sitting there, just posting and doing all those things. That's different. That's something totally different. It's the resources that you use is what you use them for. Because prior to this, before the internet, we didn't have none of this.
Period.
No computers, no anything. So guess what? People's focus was a lot different. You read a lot more. Like a lot of people, when the last time you seen someone read the newspaper? That's if you could find one.
Right. It's a rarity to be able to find a newspaper. You got to go out of your way to find one.
Like literally, and you have those people that they have to have their newspaper. Even to this day, I have an uncle, man. That's one of his daily routines in the morning. He gets up, he has his coffee, he goes for a walk, he goes get his newspaper. He still does it. Now, where he gets it from, I have no idea.
Right, literally.
There's not none near where I stay at. But what I'm saying is, it's what you make of it, man. And when we, like you saying, when you were in the emergency room for the pets, I guarantee you their fingers were just moving. They wasn't reading anything. It was unstructured. It was just doing something to do it.
Totally aimless. And the reason why I said that, because it wasn't like, you can tell when somebody's focused on something on their phone. They'll just be looking at the screen. But when you see people going like this, this went on for like an hour. Now, all the while I'm people watching, I pick up my phone not once. I'm steady people watching and just looking like they just steady, literally. I can't scroll for an hour. It's too much for me. I can't do it. I can't do it. It's too overstimulating for me. For some people, they can do it, and they can do it for hours and hours and hours. Like
I don't see how.
when Shamika was talking about it a little while ago, like people are literally doing this for hours where they're just scrolling, scrolling, scrolling. And I'm like, how much, how much information do you feel like you need? It's like, come on
What's
now.
what's even crazy? They watch the phone more than they do television.
Yeah, true.
Think about that for a second.
True.
A lot of people where you had the TV shows and this, they're not even doing that.
Hmm.
Well, I can just watch it on my phone. You're not watching TV. No, you're not. You're
Right.
looking at social media,
Right.
YouTube and TikTok. You are not looking at any television shows.
Period. So let me ask y'all, how do you reset mentally when life gets to feeling really, really heavy? I'm gonna start off and I'm gonna give it over to Jason. One thing that I do when life gets to feeling real, real crazy is I will physically go walk. I will literally go put on a sweatsuit, go walk or jog, and just till I can feel some type of relief, even if it's not a permanent relief, but just some type of relief. That relief could even be so much as the wind blowing. I'm just feeling the wind blowing, and it's just giving me just another direction to focus my brain in on instead of what I'm experiencing right now. Or, I'll take the dog and I'll listen to his little paws, the pace of his paws when he's actually trying to keep up with me, right? And it just helps me to refocus when things are a little bit heavy. Because there are times where life is going to get real, real heavy. Talk to me, Jason, when it comes to resetting when things are heavy. What is it that
Man,
you do?
honestly, you hit the nail on the head because I was gonna say a lot of the same stuff. I'm an animal lover, so I got my dogs and stuff.
Dr. Doolittle.
Um, Most of the time, just what you said. I mean, on the low side, bottom end, I will go outside and sit on the back patio. Maybe have the TV just playing something in the background, and I just put the phone down. I just sit there and think, and I spend time with my animals. Because really and truly, a lot of times your dogs will, they can tell when your mood is not right and stuff, and they will come and try to check on you and take care of you and love on you and everything. And you definitely hit the nail on the head. I'll put on some shoes, put a headset on, just listen to some, music that kind of keeps me in a good mood.
Hmm.
Go to the park and walk. And what I'm
Yeah.
focusing on is not necessarily the music. I let the music drown out some of the other noise, and I won't put it on the setting to where I don't do it on the noise canceling. I do it to where I can still hear the birds. I can still hear, I don't have the
Hmm.
music blasting. I just have it as a background noise, kind of like a white noise, and I'll pick like certain music that is calming to me. For me, is a lot of it is 80s and 90s R&B type stuff, and I will put that on. I have some, they right here on my desk. I'll have something like this to where it goes over your ear, so it don't even go in your ear, right?
Hmm.
So I'll just walk around and enjoy nature,
You
collect my
sound totally
thoughts.
different. What did you just do?
Can you hear
You
me?
sound, you sound, oh, there you go. There you go. You back. Okay.
Yeah, when I opened the thing up, it turned them on. I'm sorry.
Okay.
But no, I was saying, I'll just walk around and just let myself become one with nature. Sometimes it doesn't happen very often, but there's been a few times I'll go and I pick a park to where they have some wilderness. I can see squirrels running around. You can hear birds. You know what I mean? You can hear the rustling of like the leaves and the branches and stuff like that. And sometimes I'll just go out and sit out in the park. Just go find me a
Yeah.
good bench. If but most of the time I walk. But every now and again when I really, really, really can't handle some things, I'll sit down and just people watch. I'll just literally sit there, collect my thoughts, get away from the world.
I love it. I love it. I love it. Vincent, when things get heavy, what is a major outlet,
Well,
that
I have
you've
a
got?
couple. Like I told
Okay.
you, like I said, I'm a big DIY slash do it yourself. I always have some projects sitting for those type of times when I feel like that. Like Jay say, I go put my headphones on, so if I put my Bluetooth speaker out there, I jam my music out,
Mhm.
I'll work on one of my projects, or I may go do some stuff in nature just to be around animals, trees, and absorb. Me and Jay was talking about that the other day. I don't do good with big crowds anymore because I absorb all that. It's too overstimulating. So I
Yeah.
will stay away from large crowds, man, because I don't. I'm a energy person. If your energy's
Mhm.
off, I'm not. I'm not. I'm gonna stay away. That's why I can't have these type of things on. This is my obsidian.
Mhm.
It protects my field.
Mhm.
I'm very serious about that. And like I said, I have different options. I'm a big video gamer. I get on a video game. I while out with that for maybe an hour or two. Certain different things, or I may take a drive.
Mhm.
Or I'm a big roller skater. I'll go roller skating. Pretty good. I'm pretty good.
Oh,
I'm pretty
bounce.
good on the skates. Pretty nice. I really
Okay.
am. So yeah, I'll do that. They know. We talk about it all the time. So it's having different things to basically different stimuli to help you relax.
Mhm. I love it. I love it. Shamika.
Yeah, I'm dependent on what the heavy is. A lot of times I'll, put some music on and I'm singing my worship music. I love to sing, even if I'm not that great of a singer. I love to sing.
Okay.
um, and then
Shower songs,
yeah,
shower selections.
maybe one day. Sing, but then I'll get in the car and I'll drive and listen to music as well when I need to get zoned out. And that's when I'm usually focused on something. So it's usually some hype music.
I love it.
But I'm a disconnect person. If I get some things heavy because I am a person that's heavily, uh, I won't say dependent on, but people come to me about everything, I won't answer the phone a day or two. And I just take that time where I'm just really focused on my thoughts, my feelings, my being, and what I need to, gather myself and regroup about. So I'll take some time and I'll just totally disconnect from
I love it.
everything. And then I'm reading the book. So it depends on what the heavy is. Not all the time it's the same thing, but there are a couple things. And I love to go outside and walk too. There's a beautiful park over by my house, and me and baby girl will go walking and talking, and then that's enough, and we'll come back and go back at it.
I know that's right. So then it brings me to the next question. What daily habit protects your peace? What daily habit? Not the reset, but the daily thing that protects your peace. Um, for me, it's prayer. Daily habit of prayer definitely is a peace protection for me. And another peace protection for me is to not start off talking and entertaining anybody outside of my own internal needs, my own needs, whatever it is that I need for me. I don't do any external stuff when I start my day, and that definitely protects my peace. I don't touch the phone when I start my day. That's enough. That's a major peace protector because there's so much stuff that can be in that phone when you touch it. You don't know, somebody could have sent you a crazy text. It could be any kind of stuff that is just literally waiting for that opportunity to get your attention. So for that first hour of the day, at least the first hour of the day, I just do not mess with the phone at all. I see that I have new messages. Of course, you can see it, but I don't open them to discover what's inside, what I need to be doing. Did I miss this? Did I need to do that? Yada yada yada. I just do not allow myself to get entangled in that noise. Um, the final thing that I do to protect my peace is in the mornings when I first rise, after I pray in the day, when I first rise, I turn on something spiritual to have it running in the background as I journey into the day experience. So that's every single day. There's not a day that's like it's literally just the same as me taking a shower. It's so embedded in my brain that I turn that on, something very spiritual and intentional, spiritual um something alerting me of my internal before I deal with external. And for me, that literally helps to protect my peace. This is every single day. It's not a day that I don't do that routine or ritual, if you will. And that is abstaining from the phone, prayer, and then some spiritual content. Those are my three things. What do you guys do to protect your peace every single day?
Pretty simple. You can't disrupt my peace if you can't get in contact with me. If I don't allow you to disrupt my peace in the first place, then it's, that's one of the best methods. So, whenever I realize that my energy may not be what I need or want it to be at that particular time, I make sure I control who has access to me and what has access to me, if that makes sense.
Hmm. Hmm. For sure.
I
Business.
just won't answer the phone.
I'm like you, Coffee. I do my prayer. I try to get up at 5:30 in the morning. I said I'm going to start getting up a little bit earlier, but I'm praying. I am a morning. I need to take a shower in the morning, listen to music, my spiritual music. I need to wash off the day before, and that kind of resets me. So I'm a shower and listen to my gospel music in the morning, and then a lot of times I'll give myself time to get in the car so that I can drive a little bit and listen to music, because then my sister or somebody will call while I'm in the car on the way to work. So I try to give myself enough time to just sit with my own thoughts.
Mhm.
So my prayer and my shower with the worship music is usually what I'm doing every single morning. That's a habit to keep my peace intact. Before, like you, I don't want to touch the phone, talk on the phone, do any of that. You see all those messages and emails and all that phone blowing up in the middle
Mhm.
of the night, but no, I want to read it first thing in the morning, so I stay away from it.
Yeah, my daughter had sent me a message like, I mean, I do the same thing at night. My daughter sent me a message like super late. I was like, by 9 o'clock, I'm done. I'm done with the phone by 9 o'clock. It's over. And if you looking for me, I get in trouble with him all the time. It's 9 o'clock. Yeah, and you know what the deal is. I don't need to be. I'm good. I'm good on that. If I'm not in your face, then we'll just talk about whatever needs to be talked about tomorrow. Okay? Because I'm done with the phone. I get tired of it. I don't know about y'all, but I get tired of it. Like it's like almost like it's just like it's not a part of my body. I don't need it. You know what I mean? Like it's literally not a part of me. Like it's not that freaking serious. I have to remind myself though when I get ready to go jogging or something to definitely take a phone with me because anything can happen. And I've gotten to the point where I have to just remind myself of that part. But for the most part, I'm like, go sit down somewhere. The telephone, just go sit down somewhere. But Vincent, what is the daily habit that you have to make sure you're protecting your peace?
Okay. This is literally first and foremost before I do anything in the morning on an empty stomach, I down a bottle of water. It
Oh,
wakes up my body, it get my digestion going, and I start from there. Like Shamika said, I take a shower in the morning, I take one at night because I'm big on energy. I need to wash things off of me
mm-hmm.
because believe it or not, even as you sleep, there are forces and energies that are trying
Of
to
course.
disrupt you. So I wash them off. I'm big on smells. So I burn incense at night in the room.
Mhm.
Patchouli is one of them. And I keep it on order. It helps relax and it's calming. Lavender for some people like lavender, some don't. I don't mind lavender; it doesn't bother me. I'm a big jazz person. That's what I'm listening to in the morning. Is jazz every morning, and I literally pray all day, every day. I pray with the boys in the mornings. I pray with them at night. I pray throughout the day because, like I said, I'm big on protecting my energy and space, man. Prayer is not is it's a shield for you to protect you from energies.
Mhm.
You don't deal with a physical being, you deal with powers and principalities, and they're designed to attack you.
Mhm.
So you gotta fight.
Mhm.
And that helps me throughout my day, man. It keeps me going because guidebook that I listen to, I don't know what everybody do. That word is a guidebook to keep you going, man, to keep your day there. But
Mhm.
it's how you perceive it. But if your mind is clouded, you're not going to see what it's trying to say. It's their design to help you. So I run and I gravitate to it as much as I can because you need it. You truly
Period.
do.
Period.
So, those are some things, that I do on a day-to-day basis.
And I love what everybody said, and like just being. I think awareness is so important in the time that we live in because there is so many forces that are disruptive. That somebody mentioned earlier about the fact that in our yesteryears we didn't have the internet and things like that, and we had to focus because our lives were driven by focal points, like literally, even when it came to the style of education, how the style of education is so different now, but in our yesteryears, even in the style of education, it required focus. It required isolated, intentional focus. And we've gotten so far away from that. But one thing that I love about the community where that I was residing in is that the neighbors, it was a lot of children who were playing outside. And I don't see a lot of neighborhoods like that anymore. It's almost obsolete. But it was to the point where the neighbors would put in a group chat, y'all are driving too fast in a community where children are on bicycles all day long. Like it's kids on bikes all day. Like you're never gonna go through this neighborhood and not see kids on with helmets on and on a bicycle. Why are y'all driving so fast? And it was just refreshing to see that type of camaraderie inside a community where children are still being children, like literally outside making noise. Where, on the weekend, you really don't want to hear the noise, but at the same time, you do want to hear the noise, if that makes sense. You want to hear the noise of children and connecting to nature, connecting with themselves, out playing basketball in the street, tossing the ball, tossing the baseball, running up and down the block, things like that. And so I think about that a lot now and how to preserve those moments, even though they seem to be obsolete. They don't have to be obsolete in your house. If that makes sense. How do you preserve the moments where you're still in touch with that intentional focus? During the holiday time, I got off of my regiment where I was watching like holiday movies and all that kind of stuff and just kind of chilling and kind of got off of my regiment. But I literally have a regiment to where I only have television on if it's not like something educational one day a week where I'm just having, enjoying the entertainment of it, right? Other than that, everything that I'm watching is some type of forward thinking education. And that's that isolated focus. And when it comes to mental clarity and making sure that you preserve your energy and making sure that you take care of your mind, you have to have some form of isolated focus. And it has to be daily where you have some kind of way, even if it's just 10 minutes a day, where if you're a person and you're like, some people don't feel comfortable with isolation. They struggle with it. They don't want to even be by themselves. So 10 minutes a day, just find yourself in some way isolating from everything and everyone and just getting quiet. Getting quiet long enough to, like, Shamika mentioned earlier, just to hear your own heartbeat, your own thoughts. Interestingly enough, most of us don't even know the beat of our heart. We've never literally been quiet enough to hear our own heartbeat, where there's no noise, where you can literally lay there and you can hear the thump of your heartbeat. It's powerful to hear your heartbeat. Very, very powerful. and understand your rhythmic patterns of life. I'm glad that we had this dialogue tonight and we had this conversation. I know for a lot of people, sometimes they want the show to be, we want it to be more fast paced and all that, but sometimes it's really important. Jason said this last year, to slow down and hear. Sometimes you need to just slow down so you can hear and you can apply and you can listen for a change. And this show is one of those shows where we just slow down for a minute. Slow down. Let's think. It's the top of a year. And it's going to be so important that we pace ourselves throughout this year. We pace ourselves and give ourselves permission, like Shamika said, to make the decisions that are going to be the best suited for ourselves, our greater self, our tomorrows, the major things that we want to see happen in our lives. Because the one thing that we're doing is constantly getting older. If you're here, you're getting older. And as we age, we still want to have great experiences. And we want them to be based off our decisions and what Jason was saying earlier, not off what somebody else decided for. And what Vincent talked about, not off of competing with the Joneses. I'm trying to be what somebody else is. I'm trying to compete with what somebody else is doing. No, we want everything to be based off what it is that we see in our own mind's eye, what we see in our heart, and what we have written down in our journals that we want to experience in our life, not off of social media and all of that other stuff. Because Jason talked about that earlier. Social media is the most non-realistic thing that is out there. It's so much stuff on there, and it's stuff and things, and it's just not real. Or if it is real, it's real with additions added to it, or something subtracted where you can't see the other aspects of it. Nobody's life is 100% happy-go-lucky all the time. That's not human. That's not the human journey. It's almost like you saying, "Oh, I only have sunlight. I never see dark." No, that's not true. If you're a human, you're gonna have some dark. The same way the sun comes up, the moon does too. So at some point, there's gonna be some dark showing up somewhere. Your life is not 100% hunky-dory, always fabulous every single day. That's not how life works. And not to suggest, Jason was talking about this the other day, not channeling negativity, but realizing that you got to have negative and positive ions. A magnet it has negative and positive in order for it to magnetize. And so with that, we just want you guys to just have an opportunity to reflect and consider. We're still at the top of the year. It's still a reflection time because we are at the top of the year. And definitely take some time to consider, what do you want to have your mental focus this year? What do you want having your attention? What's going to be the thing that gets your attention with your permission? What are you willing to give permission for your attention this year? So super grateful for this amazing panel of thought leaders that is on each and every time we hit this live button. Can't do this without you guys. I appreciate and applaud and respect and honor each of y'all every single time, because what we do is important. It's not for us, it's for everybody to benefit. And we want to add value and be a blessing. So with that being said, thank you guys for tuning in, tapping in, being a part of our family and our community. And thank you for allowing us into your virtual household to be able to connect with you guys. So until next time, grace and peace be to you and your households. And we'll see y'all again for another edition of the Koffe Brown Show. Peace until next time.
Understood. But you look amazing. You don't look too bad yourself, birthday boy.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
You ready?
Whenever you want.
All right.